Hello there, welcome to my office. In this video, I'm going to delve more into the UI of Flutter design. We're going to deal with lists today, with grids, and making a tab bar that's going to help us switch between all the stuff that we did in the last video and in this one. So the code I'm starting with here is actually all the code that I wrote in the previous video. So it has a function for building stack widgets, a function for building row widgets, and a function for building column widgets. And the reason I want to keep these around is because I guess near the end of this video, I'm going to put together a little bar that'll let us pick between all of the little UI things that we've constructed in this series of 2 videos. Before doing that, I'm going to build a couple of more widget functions. I'll probably put them in separate files because the sample code that I'm trying to modify this off of puts them in separate files. And in general, you really should. In fact, if I was doing this really properly with good code style, I would take this function, probably put it in its own file, this function in its own file, this function in its own file, or maybe I could have a file that specifically has all of the builders for these different kinds of widgets, but for now I'm just going to leave it as is. And this part of the code is the critical part, which is the part that actually is going to build these different widget types. And I'm going to change this first to doing a list and then to doing a grid. So let's start with making our little list. So it's going to be real simple. We're going to make a new file. So in my all your Dart files all go in the lib folder, and you can just do new Dart file. All your Dart files should end with .dart. So this is going to be list list view.dart, and I'm going to make a class called list view. Actually, no, I don't need a class. I'm just going to make a function that returns a list view. I'll call it build list view. I'm not going to make this private because I want to be able to call it in main. Parameters, I don't think we need any parameters. And I do need the material or Cupertino package. Yeah, can I specifically get that? Yeah, there we go. So I saw the error, I clicked on it, it said you're missing the library. So when I click further, I can get to here where it says import library package Flutter material, and I can just click on it, and now the error goes away. Now what's the problem? Null is gonna, okay, null is not gonna be returned because we're gonna return a list view. We're going to use one of the different ways to construct one. I think we're going to go with the separated one. The other 2, you can look into the documentation for exactly how builder and custom work. But for this, we're going to try to separate a bunch of items using the separated function here. So when I click on it, it actually sets up here. These are the mandatory parameters that I need to have, otherwise my function is not allowed to work. If I don't have these, then you're going to get an error. You can't actually call the separated function without putting in all 3 of these things. So we're going to do each one at a time. It's very ugly to have them all stretch out like this, so I'm going to space them down. Space, space, semicolon at the end of the line. How many items do I want? Let's do 150 for fun. Item builder. So this is going to be a function. So the idea here is that I'm trying to put together kind of like a column. A list is just a column that you can scroll through. So I want to be able, like, if I have more than just 4 things on the screen, I want to have a lot of them. I want to be able to use a list so that I can swipe on the phone and go through things. Lots of text here, but I think I'm just gonna, you can read this on your own time. I'm gonna focus more on just getting stuff working for now. So both of these, I believe, take functions as their parameters. So let's start with the one that's Separator Builder. So this is the function that's going to appear between the items. And I think for this, we're just going to put in a little divider. So divider. I think this is giving me an error because I have to have stuff in here. Yeah, so I have to put in context and a index. Not that I'm actually going to use these, I don't think, because dividers just make a divider for me. But I want to have something to separate all of my items. And then I need to actually build my items, so it's going to be this here. I think I'll space, did I need to space this down? Again, this is going to be another function, which I think is, again, context, index, and these are coming from any of these builder functions, these things that are part of Flutter that are going to automatically for you construct like a list or a large number of items. See, this constructor is appropriate for list views with large number of items, and separator children. In other words, list view.separated is going to take a bunch of widgets and put them in a list. What are the widgets that I'm going to use? I'm just going to use boxes because we're keeping this simple. And I'm going to use a box, and the box is just going to be a container. So return container. Do I need to have a semicolon after this? I don't think so. What's going on here? Expect text return. Oh, I think I can just do container, right? Yeah. There we go. Okay. Let's just put something simple in here so we can see what's going on. Color dot per. No purple. Pull up. No, colors dot purple. So we can make sure it's a different thing that we've seen before. Okay, I am going to leave it here. We can tinker with this in a little bit, but I just want to see what this does first, and then we can worry about what happens after that. So I want to build a list view. Obviously, this function is missing, so I want to import the library. Save yourself some keystrokes anytime that you need to do something like import a library that's just another file that you've written, rather than going all the way up to the top and writing in yourself, import file, blah, blah. You just look for the first place where you need to actually call it, and it'll tell you your function is not defined, try defining it, or import the library. You just click on it. Look, the error goes away. And if I scroll all the way to the top please, you can see it did it for me. I don't have to worry about it. Okay, let's try it out, see what happens. Run. Oh no, is it gonna have to build? Oh, that's sad. I thought it built already because it was showing me the app, but I guess not. Well, hopefully it doesn't take too long to do. I probably should disable notifications while I'm recording videos, huh? Yeah, it's okay. I think the notifications that appear on my screen are actually gonna be blocked by me, by the camera version of me. So fortunately, the student who sent that message in Slack at this time, I don't think anybody saw what you wrote, so no worries. Okay, it looks like we're getting along here. This does sometimes take a lot of time, but okay, did this work is the question, and I don't know if it did. I see some stuff in here, and clearly I'm able to scroll, but I think the issue here is that I need to add a decoration, right? A box decoration. So let's do that. List view. Yeah, I think coloring the box doesn't really do much, but if I add the decoration, perhaps this will be better. No, maybe not. Something weird is happening here. Okay, let's try making the boxes. Oh, maybe it's because the box is too big. Let's try giving it a size. Let's say height 70, width 70 or 50, 40. Make sure it's not a square. Ah, there we go. Some stuff is happening. I can scroll through them. So, box, box, box. Now this is stretching them all out to the side, which is not great. I think that I can do something about that. Maybe in alignment. Center, perhaps? Let's try. No, maybe not. Maybe not. It might be the case that I just want to have my list view contain a column or something like that, or mishmash, but I think more, the most important thing, I guess, is that we do have a list now. We have a bunch of things that I can scroll through. Right now, they're all just purple boxes, which is not great. But let's perhaps put a, maybe we can put some text in here. Child is text. And I can say the text is entry number index. And here's where the index actually comes in. Child is not showing up there. Oh, I need a semicolon, of course. I think, what? Oh, over here. There's a comma. There we go. Let's see what this does. Okay, kind of hard to see. Let me change the color. What's the color parameter for text? I think it's a style, right? Yeah. And text style takes color, so I can make the color be, I think white will show up perhaps the best on darker purple. Okay, that's a little easier to see. I can do font size in here too, right? Probably. Font size, yeah. Let's boost up that font size. 20, I don't know what numbers mean. Sort of a thing you get used to with Flutter is, numbers mean basically nothing until you actually try them out and realize, oh, okay. Here we have actually something that is useful and meaningful now, is I can scroll through here and actually see that these boxes are not all the same box, but each one actually has some variation to it. In particular, its index is going to be different. This is super, super important because when you build a list of actual things, like instead of just having boxes, you want your list to be, button that goes to this menu, a button that goes to this menu, and so on and so forth. You want to be able to actually identify which element of your list view refers to each individual component, and the best way that you can do that is with an index. So automatically, using the listView.separator function, an index is passed into, in this case, the item builder parameter, which automatically goes for a number of times equal to item count. And for each of those says, okay, the index starts at I, which is 0 at first. And then my index I is going to go all the way up to 150. And every time I do, I'm going to call whatever function, whatever this is. In this case, it returns a container, and the container that I've written here only uses the index to indicate, to write some text in a box. But you might have it be the case where, this index actually is used for some kind of calculation, or the index refers to a specific component you want to use. Your first button is button number 0, your next one is button number 1, and you can use the index to refer to those things automatically. Now, I don't think the context is going to come into play here right away, but I think the context is more significantly just something so that when you are when you're building everything, Flutter knows to actually take what's here and put it into your app, as opposed to not putting it in here. But anyway, so there is our little list view. Some boxes across here. Maybe I can simplify. What happens if I get rid of one of these dimensions? Say I get rid of the width. What will this do? Probably nothing, right? And if I get rid of can I change the height? Well, let me do that. Let's see. Let's make my height 170. Can I get some chonky boxes? Is that what will happen? Yeah, that's what happened. I get chonky boxes, right? And I think that the list view defaults to spanning the screen. And if you don't want the list view to span the screen, then probably what you want to do is wrap this in a column. So let's try it, just see if it works. First, let's put my my list view back. It's normal size, and then let's wrap this in a column, and then we can move the column around because we know how to move a column around. So, I don't know what happened there. I want to take this whole thing and wrap it in a column. And now I think this might do more of what I wanted. Let's put the width back in of 40 and see if that helps. Whoop, that caused my computer to do some weird stuff. What's going on here? Probably something to do with the size. Me trying to put a list inside of a column. That's a lot of errors. Okay, maybe this was a bad idea. Yeah, you know what? I think it's okay. Perhaps we'll work out how to do that another time. You know, sometimes it's sometimes you have to solve some of these little puzzles to figure out how to get everything to show up where you want it to. For now, let's just stick with what I was intending to show you, which is just the basic list stuff. And I should readjust the window here to make sure that you can see the thing, just like that. Okay, let's move on from our list view. We've done lists. Let's do a grid. A grid, as you might suspect, is kind of like a list, but you got different directions. So I think I have a reference point for this to start with. Okay, so unsurprisingly, we're going to make a new file. It's called grid view. Dart. Make a function that returns a widget. Build grid view. No parameters are needed. And we're going to return a grid view thing. What can we use to build stuff? Hold up, this doesn't sound right. Right, I am missing the whole widget library. That's a good way to start. Give me the material library. Okay, now I can build a grid view. Grid view. Whoa. Grid view dot. Okay, so I got builder, count, custom, extent. I think we're going to go with count, which I think is just going to make a certain number of them, if I'm not mistaken. Creates a scrollable 2D array of widgets with a fixed number of tiles in the cross-axis. Okay. So how many am I going to have? Let's have a grid of 3 across for fun. Now, I think I can just do this, and I think, well, this probably won't show us anything, so that's not particularly useful. I think what I need to do is actually put some items in here, and I think that is going to be the list of children. Let's space this down, and I think what I want to do for this is let's make, for now, maybe let's just make some boxes. So, actually, we'll do a Flutter logo. Just with something a little different. I think default Flutter logo makes just the basic logo, right? So how about we do a couple of them? Let's do like 5, just so we can see what this looks like for funsies. Okay, make a bunch of Flutter logos, build our grid view. Cross-axis count is 3, so I think that's gonna, if I'm correct, what this is gonna do is gonna have a 3 across and then as many down as necessary, and I can scroll just like a list. That could be right, could be wrong. Let's find out. Build grid view. I need to import this file, so let's do that. Now let's run it, see what happens. Hey, look at that, I'm right. Maybe let's make some more so that I actually can see that this scrolls. So pardon me, I'm just pasting in. I'll do a much neater way of doing this, but for now I'm just putting in a ton of Flutter logos so I can see if this actually scrolls. And indeed, it does scroll. And it scrolls all the way down to show every item that you have up until the last one. And I decided I wanted to have them in rows of 3. If I wanted to, I can be like, no, we're going to have, each row is going to have 4 logos. You know, it does that. Can have it, yeah, we'll leave it as 3. Okay, now this is obviously hideous, right? Like, what the heck? How come I have to copy paste Flutter logo 10 million times? So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to get a list of Flutter logos, so I don't have to copy paste a million things. And for that, let's make a second function that's going to give us a list of build Flutter logos. My list of build my why is this mad? Oh yeah, because it doesn't return anything. I'm going to return a list. I guess to build my list, I'll probably need a loop for that, I think. So list starts out as empty for eyes listen. Let's make like 30 Flutter logos. List.add Flutter logo, and we'll return that list. And now my children can be building the Flutter logos. Function call. No, what's the problem? List dynamic can't be assigned to the parameter list widget. So I have to actually specify this is a list of widgets. Otherwise, it will complain at me and be mad. And also this needs to be defined as a widget. So here's, I guess, a good example of sometimes you do have to be picky about the types that you declare for all of your variables and functions, because as you can see here, deciding to just say list, the list dynamic, is not going to necessarily satisfy the requirement of gridView.count, which requires specifically a list of widgets. And I need to say for sure this is a list of widgets. And then this will hopefully do what I want it to do. Go! And look at that, now I got a good chunk of these. Are there any other tricks and tips that I can do with this thing? I think this is the most important part. I guess we can show some of the other grid view parameters. So unsurprisingly, we have cross-axis count and cross-axis spacing, main axis spacing. We can separate these in different ways. Pardon me, I'm feeling very sneezy. I might sneeze in a moment. We'll see. So main axis spacing right now is set to 0. Let's set it to 2 and see what happens. Whew. Oh, that was not very visible. Let's set it to 20 and see what happens. There we go. So now you can see these are spaced further apart using the main axis spacing. And make it 50 to make it real noticeable. Did that work? I think I blinked. It looks like they're further spaced apart. And you can probably imagine that cross-axis spacing is going to go the other way. So cross-axis spacing, and let's do like 30. So you can see now there's more space in between them, so that might be something you want to adjust. I think you can add in some padding if you really want to, because right now everything is just the logos with some white space, but I believe I can do padding, edge insets. You know, this is from the last one. Let's say space everything from the right by, I don't know, 15. Let's see what this does. Okay, 15 is not very noticeable. 50. Okay, so now you can see there's like extra padding on the right side of this. I guess this is how we can fix our, maybe this is how we can fix our list thing. Because our list thing, is there a padding option for this? Yeah, there is. Oh, look at that. Okay, so yeah, before we were sad because our list view was like filling across the screen. That was annoying, but surprise, in this video alone we figured out how to fix that, and that's just by introducing padding on the sides. So padding you can see on the right side here. We can also put some on the left side. Let's make that also 50 for fun. We're gonna push everything over, and look at that, you know, we got our grid, scrollable grid. All right, any other things I want to show? There's a parameter called primary. What does that do? I'm actually not sure. Let's find out. Primary creates a scrollable. I'm not quite sure. You know, let's see what happens if I set this to. So I think the default is true. So what happens if I set this to false? Is that true? Is the default primary? It's optional. Okay. Well, let's find out what it does. You know, I might not actually know. Magic of Google, I guess. Grid view dot count. I just want to know, you know. I think we can actually. Can we go from here? Can I just go to this and get the doc? Or am I not that lucky? Maybe not that lucky. Flutter source. Just so you see what I'm looking at. Here we go, grid view. Primary. Yes, okay. Whether this is a primary view scroll, while this is true, the scroll view is scrollable even if it doesn't have enough content to actually scroll. Otherwise, by default, you can only scroll if there's enough space. Okay. So, that means I think that if this is true, then it allows me to scroll even though there might not be too much stuff here. Let's test that theory. So right now I'm building like 30 things, and I can scroll through the 30 things, and if I put in fewer, like say I put in only 10, this should not let me scroll. And indeed it does not, because there's not enough stuff. Now if I set this to true, is this going to let me scroll? I think it will. No, my theory is bogus. Yeah, you know what? Well, maybe it's something. I don't know. Maybe you can tell me. Post in the comments, I guess, so you can figure out what it does. Okay. So let's go back to our main. Let's make 30 of these things just so we can still have this here. So we've done lists, we've done grids, we've done stacks, rows, and columns. But it's kind of annoying to have to copy and paste this thing every time, right? So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to set up a little tab bar at the top, and the tab bar is going to let us switch between all of these different things that we're going to switch between. So first things first, I'm going to need a new file for that. The new file for that I'm going to call, what's the name of it? Tab page, sure. Here we go, tab page. Tab page .dart. Okay, in my tab page .dart, I'm going to make a class. This is for real this time. And it's going to be a layout example. And I have 5 different layout examples. Each of them is going to have a name. I sound very congested, don't I? Each one's going to have a name. Each one's going to have an icon, so I know I have a little symbol so I can click on it. And each one is going to have a different function to actually build stuff. So layout example. Make a constructor. I'm gonna do this dot. Well, I guess let's declare our variables first, right? So we got a name. We're going to have a icon data icon. I think this might give me an error. Maybe, maybe not. Let's import material anyway. I never remember the actual names of anything in here, but material is one that pops up often enough that you can usually just type import quotations and start writing material. I'll probably give it to you. Icon data, question mark, and finally a function. We'll call this one builder. Why are you mad at me? Must have a, oh yeah, because I have to finish this. It's gonna have this dot name, this dot icon, this dot builder. No, why are you mad? Do I need quotations? I'm missing something here. I feel like I made a very silly mistake, and I'm not seeing right away what it is, but I will fix it. Class decoration must have a body even if it's empty, but I have a body. It's right here. I'm gonna feel really stupid when I see the error here. People are probably watching this video and like yelling at me like, "Oh, you haven't figured it out." It's these parentheses, isn't it? Of course it is. Okay, string is not defined. What? How is string not defined? Is it capital S? Probably. Yeah, okay, capital S, capital F. Wait, there we go. All right, sorry for the little mix up there. All right, the reason I want to do this is because I want to be able to make a function to return a widget. We'll call it build a tab bar. One of the parameters is going to be a list of layout examples. We'll call it options. These are different examples that I can work with. And this is going to return a tab bar. Oop. The tab bar is going to have tabs, and each of those tabs is going to be an option. So we're going to take the and I think this is a looking for a list. So we're going to need to here's I guess where like map and stuff starts coming to play. So the idea here is that we have a list of options. For each of these options that are here, what I want to do is create a tab out of it. And so my idea is like I want to, for every one of these, I make a tab. The tab itself is going to look something like this. Tab, which will have, the text is going to be the option dot title, and the icon is going to be the option dot icon. This is all giving me red right now, and the reason it's all giving me red is because I put an option instead of options. It's not, I'm doing this on purpose. The reason is this isn't actually the whole code I need to write. This is just what I want to do per option. So per option, I actually want to do options.map, and the function here that I'm taking has a parameter which is the element of the list. So that's each option. And what it's going to do is give me a tab. I missed something. What did I miss? I missed, so this is going to give me an iterable, but I want a list. So I need to take this map and make it a list. What's the issue here? The getter title isn't defined. Oh, sorry, not title, name, duh. Icon data, can we send a parameter type widget? Oh, this might be a change to how the tab works. Oh, okay, yeah, so it's expecting a widget, not an icon, so we're just going to put that a widget. Not a problem, not a problem. Okay, I think that's a new Flutter thing. I think my code used to be correct, and then of course Flutter updates and messes everything up. So my build tab bar function now returns a tab bar, literally a bar that has a bunch of tabs you can click on, and each of those comes from one of these layout examples, and these are going to be my row, my column, my stack, and so on. And my idea is that I want to take one of these classes, and from that class generate a tab per example, and each of those tabs needs to have text and it needs to have an icon. Now the icon, I think hopefully you're going to figure out how to make the icon. I think that the code that I was working off of was deprecated, and so icon data was the wrong thing to write in. But we'll probably be able to figure out, I think, together what the icon is supposed to be. Probably just going to be an icon type, to be honest, but we'll see. Okay, now what am I missing here? So I think that's everything for now. All right, so I got my tab bar. Now, for my tab bar to work, I need options. So in my main function here, I'm going to need to make my options. And I guess I will put them here. This isn't an arbitrary place. This is specifically within the state of my basic layout, main page if you didn't change the name. This is where code is going to start running. So I can do list of layout examples. It's going to complain. I think, oh no, maybe not. Let me finish writing this line of code first. It's going to be a list. Now it's empty. Now it's going to complain and say, oh, should probably give it a name, options. There we go. Oh, did I import it already? Maybe I imported it already. Yeah, it looks like I imported it already. I guess maybe that happened by default along the way somewhere. Android Studio just doing things for me. Okay, this list of options, I'm going to basically put in a layout example using the class constructor. And I'm going to have one for each of the different things we've done in these exercises. So row, column, stack, list, grid. So each one needs to have a name. For example, am I doing this correctly? I hope I'm doing this correctly. Yeah, okay. This is where I'm going to need help probably from the specific icons. So, okay, so let's do, column, the icon is an icon. I think this should be what I'm looking for here. What do I want? View column. There's like a gazillion icons, as you can kind of tell just from looking at this list. So I think there is documentation that you can look for to find out exactly what that one is. Let's see here. Argument type icon data can't be assigned to the parameter type widget. So this is where things are getting tricky. Icon creates, no, what's the problem here? Positional argument, which is the icon data. So icons dot view. There we go. Okay, so icon to construct an icon widget, and the icon widget requires icon data, and the icon data is the symbol I want to put in. Okay, all is well. And I also need the function here, and the function, which is the builder, is going to be build column widget. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's the first one. I'm gonna do this for each of the others. I'm gonna have our row, stack, list, grid. Okay, what are the things we have here? For row, reorder. Here's where I'm very much cheating by having code that I can look at and just be like, oh, is this the one that I want to use? Let's see here. Let's see, row reorder, then stack is filter none. List is view list. And grid is grid on. Okay, so it's my list of options. I haven't used it yet, so it's still complaining at me. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to here. I'm going to do build tab bar. I'm going to pass it those options. Okay, haven't compiled this in a while, so hopefully we'll see what happens. Okay, what's the problem? When creating a tab bar, you must provide an explicit tab controller using the controller property or ensure there is a default tab controller above the tab bar. In this case, there was neither, so that's a bit of a problem. This is probably because I don't think I finished doing everything I needed to do for the tab bar. Now, I think one way to fix this is make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah, I think we're going to use the default tab controller thing. So instead of returning a scaffold, which is what I'm doing here, what I think I'm going to do instead is I'm going to return a default tab controller, and its child is going to be the scaffold. And the length is going to be 5 because there's 5 things. Is that correct? I guess I can be real proper and do options.length, but it's 5. Okay, how about now? What do we get? Now I think they might be. Okay, yeah. So they're there, but you can't see them because, unfortunately for me, I've decided, I guess, or maybe it defaulted to making everything white and not really visible, and also nothing's really showing up. So I think I got some things to fix here. First off, there's some code I didn't write in the tab page, which probably is useful. Which I believe is the fact that right now I'm not actually building anything, right? I'm only creating the icons and stuff. And now, can I change the tab style? Yeah, because right now it kind of sucks that I can't actually see any of these things very well. So what if I take this and I change the label color? Maybe that's what I want. I'll be able to see what I'm doing. Hey, look at that. Now we can see things. Columns, rows, stack, list, grid. Okay, so this is our first step, right? We got a tab now that we can click on and cycle through these, but nothing's being built, and that's sort of our problem, is we need to actually use this builder function to build stuff and put it on the screen. And where in the screen do I want it to go? I want it to actually go in, I think what I really want is I don't want the tab bar in here. I want the tab bar up here, and I want the body to contain the building, right? The actual like functions and stuff. So here, I think there's a child parameter, I think, right? Child or children. Or actually, maybe it goes. Hold on, where does this go? Bottom. Let's go bottom. Build. Just copy the code. That's probably not going to be happy about it. What does body expect? Oh, it's optional. Okay, we'll get rid of it for now. Fill it in a bit. Why is this angry? The argument type widget can't be assigned to the parameter type preferred size widget. Very interesting. So I think this sounds like another one of those Flutter updated and didn't help me quickly adjust things. Build tab bar. I guess we'll make it a preferred size widget. Okay. That seemed to not give me any new errors. Hey, look at that. Nice. Made my app bar a little bigger because it has to fit everything in, but now everything is up here and I can put stuff in the white section that I want to have there. So let's do that. Now to do that, I think I'm going to need a new function here. The new function that I need here is going to be the one that actually builds the tab bar view. So this is where we're actually going to, depending on what I've clicked on, build the matching style, whether it's a column or row or so on. We're needing an index, I think, for this one. And so what I want to do is, actually, do I need this? Maybe I don't. Oh, hold on, I'm looking at the wrong part of the code. No, it's not an index. It's the options, right? It's the options that I have. And this is going to give me a tab bar view. And the children of this are going to be I think it's basically kind of like this, where we have options.map. For each option that's there, I want to what is it? I want to take each option and I want to return a I think I might have to use specific type for this. Let's try a card. Is that something that's acceptable? Can I use this? Why is this mad at me? Function expressions can't be named. Oh, I'm missing a parentheses. There should be one here and one here, I think. This maps to this. This goes to. No, that's not right. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay, and so Might be able to get with using container, but if that doesn't work, we'll try card just as a different type to see if, good to play with different widgets. And in here, I want the child to be my actual option dot builder. So what I've written in this code here is, right now all I got is I got the tab bar, but I don't actually have it doing anything. What I want to do is make it so that depending on the option that I've clicked on, it will take that and it will create the matching design. So over here where I have my tab controller, the way that this is going to work is this is something that's going to take the tab bar here and in the body build the associated thing. Oh no, things have exploded. All right, let's let's figure out what to fix. Mapped list iterable is not a subtype of list widget. I think this might be because I didn't put in a thing somewhere. Over here, yeah, of course it's over here. Okay, what did I do wrong? Maybe I have to specify that this is a widget. Map list iterable layout example widget is not a subtype of list widget. So I'm returning the wrong thing. Oh, it's because this is supposed to be to list, right? I get all of this, and this gives me an iterable, but this needs to be a list. Ah, ha 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 ha. The satisfaction of getting things working. Yeah, column. A row seems to be a column. A stack seems to be a column. This is the column. Here's the column. Okay, we're getting one step closer at a time, but currently we're not building the thing we want it to build. So the reason for that, I believe, is that we are not actually building. We're not lining things up here. All right, let's. I'm gonna pause the video for 1 second. All right, sorry about that. There was somebody at the door. We are going to try to figure out why this is not loading the correct structure. Because right now, what it seems to be doing is it is always giving me the column when I don't want that to happen. So let's verify that this is doing what I want. Let's think about things here. Okay, so this is where the crux of everything is going on, right? Because in here what we have is, oh, actually, I figured it out. No, the code is totally fine. It's this part that's wrong. I'm building the column widget no matter what. Let's how about a row widget? How about a stack widget? So it always feels so silly when it's like it's the most minor error. Build. What was it? Build list view and build grid view. There we go. My stack seems a little. Oh no, this is a different stack I think that I may have copied the code from. But hey, look, we got all of our 5 things. So I think that puts an end to this video. I've been recording for a fair bit actually. But it does seem like a little bit of magic happened at the end there because I was sort of struggling through, I guess, to be perfectly honest, making sure everything was working there. But the errors that I ran into, which you can obviously rewind and take a look at, came from, first off, if you want to have a tab bar and a so this is specifically a, where is it, tab bar? A tab bar, which is going to have some stuff you can click on, little icons like this and names, and associated with it is a tab bar view, which creates a page view per tab. To link these together, you need a controller. I think you may have seen this in other courses where you've done where you have done software design patterns. As a controller is something that literally is going to control parts of some part of your code and then show it another way. I believe model view controller is a specific design pattern. And in this case, the view is the thing that we're seeing. The model is the data that's actually being worked with here. So it's like the colors and stuff like that. And the controller is the code that actually says, okay, if you click on column, show the column thing. If you click on stack, show the stack thing, and so on and so forth. So hopefully this has been a helpful video for you, and I'll definitely be going over this stuff again in the lecture. I guess if you're watching this, you've already seen me go over it in the lecture, but fortunately, any of the kinks that I run into have been ironed out as part of this video, and you saw me do it. And I hope to publish more of this content for you guys to watch, and hopefully it helps. See you around.